because I'm feeling the tempo of the show, and sometimes I like to stretch the audience a bit to get into some of the deep stuff that Mark was talking about with his maps and charts, because you don't get this stuff anyplace unless you're in a university class studying national security doctrine, or unless you're in the military or intelligence, or unless you're listening to Trento Vision.
There you go.
So we got a very bright audience out there.
I tell you what, name me one major network: CNN, Fox, MSNBC,
Current TV, Al Gore's Current TV.
Any channel out there that actually ever talks about Sharia law, reliance of the traveler. Documented Sharia law. Just this one thing alone. Whoever shows you the maps that Mark Langfan is showing you. Name me one person that ever mentioned the name Sayyid Qutb.
No, I know. A lot of stuff. And
we were the ones talking about the Muslim Brotherhood before anybody knew about the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, yeah, a long time ago. But now we are on the air, and we're trying to get it out to everybody. We've got a couple of people on hold. We'll get to you guys in a moment. But I just want to say a couple of things. Organic Gold are one of our coffee sponsors. We'll get more into that later on, Organic Gold. CJ's not here right now. We have the Mort's Art. And everybody, all our callers, we want everybody, you got till the end of the week. We're ending this on January 31st, and then Mort will draw a custom-designed sketch art piece for you. And he does fabulous work based upon the idea you submit to the judging nominating board, us, and just give an idea where you'd like Mort to. Mike, throw something up on a Mort's Art so people can see what we're talking about. And if you're driving in your automobile, Mort's Art is our good friend Mort, who's a accomplished artist. He will draw your idea, political idea, a national security idea, crazy idea, whatever you submit. He will put the pen to paper, and draw something specifically for you if you get selected as having the best idea. So we got that coming up this week. On Saturday, we have a launch 5 to 7 special show. We have some neat people launching a community of close to 50,000 people by then. Folks who are committed to the U.S. Constitution, committed to this republic, committed to defending the state of Israel, to fighting the jihad. That's Saturday, 5 to 7. We want you to go to teapartycommunity.com. Just listen. I'm just going to read a couple of headlines, and then we'll take a couple of calls. Then we'll get into the debate between the two Zionists and a Zionist and a Jewish rabbi. Obama says that I don't want to comment or anything or any calls on this. Okay. Or if you're on the line, you can comment. Obama says that he goes skeet shooting all the time. Okay, he was asked at a recent press conference regarding his desire to ban guns. Have you ever shot a gun? Have you ever in your life pulled the trigger on a gun and fired a gun? And he had this goofy answer where he said, "Well, I go to Camp David and we go skeet shooting up there. And I think hunting is great and all that, but he goes skeet shooting regularly." Now, if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in New York. It's going to be very hard to, with a bunch of friends, they give live weapons to the friends with the president standing next to him with the Secret Service agents around. Just an accident, right? Right. But maybe the president goes all by himself. All right, then Israel right now, right as we speak, is on high alert over Syrian chemical weapons. Now, I don't want to get into the argument with Pat back then when he said Bush went into Iraq with wrong intelligence. First of all, that intelligence was handed over by most of the Western countries. They all had the same intelligence, that Saddam did have a MWD program. WMD, weapons of mass destruction. And everyone was thinking nuclear. It wasn't, there were nuclear efforts, but he had pushed that aside and was developing extensive weapons of mass destruction on a chemical and biological basis. And we've seen some of that employed in the Kurdish area up north, where he killed 8,000 of his own people with various gases. But he shipped that stuff to the West, guess what, to which country when we invaded? Mm-hmm. to Syria. So the chemical weapons that the Israelis are concerned about right now came from additional stockpiles from Saddam Hussein. So there were and were weapons of mass destruction there. Al Jazeera right now is reporting that the French-led troops regain Timbuktu from the rebels. Whoever heard of Timbuktu used to be a joke. It used to be a joke. We all know right now Egypt is on fire. And maybe we'll get into a little bit of that today, if not today, then tomorrow.
Quash that rebellion with those 100 tanks that we're sending them and those
200 tanks, yeah.
Yeah.
The Fordow plant in Iran. Right now, Israeli intelligence is supporting, and various news agencies in the U.S. are reporting, after about 3 days of speculation, that at the Fordow, F-O-R-D-O-W plant, very deeply underground, there's been a massive explosion, and the explosion is in the primary enriching area for the Iranian nuclear program.
Oh, what a sad. That's very sad, Tom.
And it looks like the bombs, instead of dropping bunker busters from the top and trying to dig down, it looks like somebody designed bombs in the shape of the equipment that was needed to enrich the uranium. So the Iranians brought the equipment thinking it was equipment when in fact it was disguised bombs right into the area, and the whole thing has been ignited, and over 200 people are missing right now. That's being reported more factually. It was questionable over the past couple of days. Let's see, this little thing right here that Tehran is denying it. And then I got some interesting local news for everybody a little bit. But right now, let's take Valanda for a quick question and comment. How are you today, Valanda?
Hi, Tom. Give CJ my love.
We will, absolutely.
And hi, Mark.
How you doing, Valanda?
I was listening at Pat there a few moments ago, and to be quite honest with you, I think he calls on Steve Kane's show too. They call him Taliban Pat. But here's the situation.
Taliban Pat? Okay.
Yeah. Here's what I want to say to him. Bush did not leave Barack Libya. He did not leave him Turkey. He did not leave him Egypt. And I don't think he left him Syria either. The bottom line is, Barack is to blame of the stuff that is coming down right now, with all due respect. And for all his, I'm 1,000% in support of this president. There are people right now within the black community, people that I have discussed things with, even my own father. They're kind of leery right now, particularly after this recent edict of women having being allowed to go to, not allowed, but basically told they can go to the front in battle as well. So they're having some questions right now. And as for Patton, though, they're basically like the typical Democratic operatives. They're saying things like, well, we support this president if it weren't for Bush. The fact of the matter is, you either have to be ignorant, you have to be a total idiot not to realize what's going to take place, or you're an Islamist yourself and you are actually rooting for these so-called bad elements. The bottom line is, when Barack and Hillary put their tentacles in Libya, we had a problem. When they put their tentacles in Egypt, we now have a problem. So for all his, pandering to Barack Obama, the man, from what I can see, either doesn't know what he's doing, or he knows what he's doing, and it's not in this country's or anyone else's in the Western world's interest. So that's basically what I want to say.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And there were four of us on the line, and we wanted him to speak to our special guest. But I told him to call back, and we'll give him the slow roast here. We'll let him walk into the oven, and just by you'll see a very good slow cross-examination process for guys like Taliban Pat, if that's who it is. But
hey, we welcome those discussions. I mean, I'm serious
great,
because, I mean, I think eventually, once you just keep pounding them with facts. They might not never say it on air, and they might not ever say it on wherever, but you cannot deny the facts of what's going on. And that's the whole reason I got into all this, Rolanda, was, I started going way back in 2001, 2002, seeing what the heck's going on. And then I started hearing all this information. I said, well, if this information is true, then it has to be happening not just at the upper levels, it has to be happening at the lower levels on the ground level. And that's the reason I started getting involved in this, is because I started seeing things on the ground level that mirrored what I was being told. And the other side, it was just a bunch of lies. And that's the reason I am where I am today.
Yeah, one quick question, then we got to bring Robert on, and then we got to get going on some other stuff. Go ahead.
No problem. When Saddam Hussein was ejected from power, where do you think those WMDs went? Because I never believed that it was a false intelligence or anything like that. I believe he got rid of them, unlike most people in this world who thought it was just false intelligence. We had the French telling us they had him. We had, I guess, the British intelligence saying he had him. We had everyone saying he had him. But my question is, where do you think they ended up? Do you think they ended up in Syria?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, and one of our regular special guests, Claire Lopez, who spent 20 years with the agency, she's testified on this. She's written extensively, and there's a whole file. There's a very clear file that substantiates beyond question if people want to look at it. But it's better, Bush lied, people died. Those kind of bumper sticker things actually work in terms of influencing small thinkers, but serious people that want to look at data. And you're right. When the various Western intelligence agencies collaborate and say, yeah, this is what we think, what we believe too, there's something there. All that stuff, and it was chemical for the most part, biological, went on those trucks. Remember, those trucks were going from Iraq over into Syria, and the Israelis right now are checking that stuff out, saying, it ain't coming, it ain't getting in the hands of the rebels, whoever the heck they are.
Yeah, 30,000 dead Kurds don't lie.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Valanda. Robert, are you with us? Robert.
Yeah, he's switching calls.
Did he hang in?
Yeah, he's got a call coming in.
I am.
Hey, how you doing today, Robert? We're taking a deep dive on some of this stuff. Good, we're doing very well.
Is this democratic, Robert?
This is liberal, democratic, 100%, Green Beret, 20 years service, Robert.
Okay.
Hoorah.
What you got, Robert?
You guys kill me.
All right.
Obama's going to take all your guns, and you're done for. You're going to be fighting the bad guys with your pocket knife.
Green Beret. That's what
you're going to throw your Green Beret at them.
Go ahead, Robert.
Never had a gun. Never brought a lot of guns from Vietnam, but never had a gun in my house.
Okay.
Good. All the thieves in the world now know that.
Absolutely.
You want to put your address out there too? We got a newspaper that can help you out with that.
I gave them all to my father-in-law, and he fucked them up. Anyhow,
but you can't say that word.
All right. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
This is deja vu. I gotta tell you.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Deja vu is when, if we lost Vietnam, the whole area of Southeast Asia would go to the communists. Okay? Are there no other countries involved in the Middle East that would have some interest, like China, like Germany, like France, like whatever? I mean, you guys are killing me. You think we're the only persons in the Middle East that have an interest.
Okay.
And is that fair?
I don't know if I understand your question.
Well, my question is, there are lots. I remember Vietnam. I remember other countries being involved. China. Does China have no interest in what's going on in Iran and Iraq? Does France? Does Russia? I mean, what do? Sit by and let us do all the heavy lifting?
Well, actually, no. Actually, Russia has great interest in the Middle East, and they're coming in on the Iran side, big time, and they're supporting them in every way.
Well, what is your point? So that's
if you want to know my point is,
I can know your point.
That this sounds to me like deja vu. I mean, those other.
So you're talking about? You're trying to make a parallel between the Middle East and Vietnam. Is that what you? Is that the parallel?
I'm trying to make a parallel in the fact that the United States is not the only country in the world. Okay. The United States has interests there. Other countries have interests there. Saudi Arabia has interests there.
Yeah,
why are you laying Just a minute. Let me say. Why are you laying everything on the Obama administration and what's going on? I mean, come on.
Well,
Wait a minute. Let me.
Okay, I thought he's done.
Therefore, Robert. Now, what's your conclusion? That's your analysis. What's your conclusion?
My conclusion is that let them work out their own, as happened in Vietnam. Suddenly, 40 years later, we have a trade mission in Vietnam. 40 years earlier, we were fighting their ass to the end. I mean, come on. These people will work their things. Syria will, Egypt will, whatever it happens, they'll work. We don't have to be in every. What are we, the policemen of the world?
Well, I think there may be some common ground here that we could find with you. Simply stated, because you raise a fascinating issue that we can develop another time, because I got to get into some other stuff here. But I think many of the people on the conservative side, many of the people in my colleagues who aren't necessarily from the neocon world, where nation building is part and parcel of your foreign policy. Many people since 9/11 have had a revised view of the role of America in foreign policy. But let's not miss the fact that somebody came to Manhattan and knocked down a couple of buildings, and
that's such a simplistic answer.
And they're coming. Listen. Then they're coming back, but for TSA, but for the Hercules Squad in New York, but for the JTTF, but for, bombs would be exploding all over the United States, and you'd go, what the hell's going on here? We got to go stop them. So the new foreign policy that many of our colleagues see is no more nation building in Muslim countries where they just slice each other's throats. But General Paul Vallely, who's on this show a lot, has developed a fascinating theory, a lily pad theory, where we have these small bases all over the world, and we can jump heavy lethal lethality. We can deliver lethality both in manpower and firepower on bad guys anywhere in the world within 6, 7, 8 hours. And we just swat flies like that while developing human intelligence on the ground to go for the heads of these snakes. We don't go into Afghanistan anymore. Now, this is our view. This isn't Obama's view necessarily. He is more into nation building, as you're going to see. You go in, you kill the bad guys, you get out, and you keep killing them until they say, we can't mess with the United States anymore. That's, if I was the president, that's the policy I would have. And okay. You would support that, right, Robert?
No. I don't think lily pad is good. I think we should take care of U.S., leave it alone, let them...
Isolationism.
I've experienced this.
Isolationism, right. You're talking about isolationism like happened before World War II.
No.
Well, what do you mean by that? If you let them build their own nations, whatever they want to do, let them go ahead and do it. We just stay the heck out of it. That's isolationism by definition, Robert.
Well, who else is in there, son? Who else is in there? Russia, France? Don't they have interests? Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and Russia has interests.
Oh, he's saying let them fight our battles.
Oh, okay. So he's saying don't we just stay out of it and let them all duke it out over there.
If bases are being developed in Benghazi which we know they are right now, and Al Qaeda of the peninsula there is formulating, and we know that their focus is to attack us. And somebody,
No.
and some,
No.
listen.
Why would bases in Benghazi be focused to attack us? Aren't there closer?
Well, let's make believe that were true. If that were happening, and we had the intelligence that there are bases there of Al Qaeda forming and training to attack Western sites in the U.S., and France said we will go fight them for you, or Canada, or Norway, or Sweden, or Spain, or
even
Greece,
China.
or Italy, or China said we will fight them for you, America. Yeah, I agree with you. Let them go fight.
Hello, what's happening in Mali?
Well, that's a French colony with
Oh.
yeah. So
So what? I was like, what's
Robert, it's nap time. It's nap time. It's 5:30, Robert. It's your nap time, and more milk and cookies. More milk and cookies.
Bye,
See you
Robert. Thanks
later.
for
Bye
calling.
bye.
Well, I haven't been called son in a while.
I know. He needed his vitamin D from milk and cookies, but we love Robert.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think what we'll do is we'll save, because it's when I worked through Alan's letter and Rabbi Bruce Warshaw, it's very important stuff. Very important stuff, because it relates to everything we're doing here. I think we'll save that to tomorrow.
Okay.
And I want to do a couple of things now. Let's discuss this, the three of us.
Do we
here.
still have a caller on hold or not?
No, those two, just two of them.
Okay.
Let's discuss Robert's view of nation building in Syria. I'll tell you right now, Syria is complicated because you have.
Well, who are you going to replace? I mean, all right. So
You
so
have
Assad goes away.
You have the
Who's
Ku
next?
Klux Klan from the north fighting the Ku Klux Klan from the south.
Right.
Which side are you going to
Just
take?
take, right.
I'll go with the Klan. I mean, there's no good answer. So our view has been,
Right.
let them slice each other's heads off. Let them kill each other.
Yeah.
And now Mark disagrees with this. I think Mark
Yeah,
Langfang
yeah.
a little bit. Like, we're going to run in and do what? Well, take out Assad and put in whom?
That's the whole question. Who do you replace in the vacuum? I mean, that's the whole point. And here's the whole rub of the whole Middle East in kind of a little bitty nutshell, is the only two options we have as a foreign policy not getting involved, okay, is, okay, we support either a fundamentalist theology that wants to eradicate the Western Hemisphere, not just the United States, but the Western Hemisphere and Israel. The other side, we have to support a brutal dictating thug. Those are the only two and that's the reason we threw our support behind Mubarak. That's the reason we threw even Gaddafi, who, as much as a thug as he was crushing the Muslim Brotherhood. And on the other side, even look at Saddam Hussein. He total, dictatorial thug. Then he finally decided to have world aspirations. Okay, we got to take him out now. But when we go in and we take him out, we replace it with what? A fundamentalist theology. Give me a break. And the whole point of what Pat was trying to say earlier was, what can we do in Iran? What has Obama done in Iran? Well, he's done absolutely nothing. If you go in there, you go into these places, you take over Iraq, for example. You do like a MacArthur style and say, okay, all you people are out of here. That we're placing it with a fundamental constitution with separation church and state, like they did in Japan, like we did with Germany. What was wrong with those two plans? They obviously worked very well.
Well, there is a problem.
What?
The jury is in that the Islamic mind, the true Muslim, the Sharia-compliant Muslims, cannot
change,
assimilate, cannot accept, or live out constitutionally. Their doctrine is too diametrically opposed. So if we went in there and gave them classes on federalism and all of this,
that was the same. That was
it
the
would
same.
be, well,
that was the same ideology that happened when they talked about Japanese. Well, Japanese are just rooted so much into this culture, into their ideology, they can never, ever, ever,
well,
ever
it was
change.
different. It was different.
Well,
that was a
so?
very monolithic group of people. It wasn't worldwide with all different nationalities and all different countries and all that, as Islam is. It's in 56 nations. This was a unified people, one type, and the leadership structure bought into the plan and told everybody, you got to follow this. So that first generation wrapped into democracy, and the only way to follow that model, apples for apples, we'd have to have a caliphate. Now you got the Shia and the Sunni. They're going to fight. This is never going to work. You can't tame a Muslim in terms of
that's where I've always
when they follow their doctrine.
Well,
you just can't do it.
That's where I've always come back and said
They gotta. The only way a Muslim can be tamed in the sense of